Here's advice for a wrestling dad with an extensive wrestling background that wants to coach his son or daughter. It can be done. I've done it, right? But the most important thing I think to remember is your son or daughter is different than you, most likely. I just had a dad about a month ago. Oh, if he was just more like me. And I'm like, well, you know, successful guy, has his master's degree, you know, works in some corporate setting, I don't know, upper middle class income earner, successful guy. But I was like, you know, he's like his mom, he's not intense like me. I'm like, well, maybe if you weren't so intense, maybe you would be higher up the corporate ladder. Do they really want intense guys like you running the meetings with investors from around the nation? Maybe not. Maybe you've worked your way into a position where you're successful, but maybe you should be way more successful. And he didn't like to hear that, actually. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's maxed out. I don't know. But I'm like, why do we always assume that we're so amazing and we're so successful and that our personality is amazing and our kids are losers because they don't have our amazing personality and we need to fix it? No. You know, you look at Donald Trump's a billionaire. He's a blue-collar billionaire, hothead, right? Then if you look at someone like Bill Gates, he's got a different personality, but they're both billionaires. They're both very successful. Sure, you could say, well, maybe Bill Gates would be more successful and maybe Donald Trump would be more successful if they were a little bit different. Who knows? But I guess when you become a billionaire, you're doing pretty good. Now, how about athletics, right? We measure success in athletics, I think, through accomplishments. Not everyone's going to be a billionaire. Not everyone's going to be an Olympic champion. But if you're top 5% in the nation, that's what John Smith told me years ago. Work to be top 5% in the nation in everything that you do, and your life's going to be okay. You're not always going to win the Olympics. You might not always win the NCAA title. But no matter what you're doing, try to be top 5% at it, you know? And that can come down to anything. That can come out to your job, your career, being a dad or a wife or a husband or a mom or whatever, an athlete, your fitness level. You know, being number one at everything can be difficult, but the whole top 5% thing is pretty good advice. There's a video here about looking at your life through chapters. You know, I knew an Olympic champion was living under a bridge, hooked on drugs. He's not anymore, but you can't say he was more successful than me. He wasn't. So one chapter is good, the other chapters are bad. But if you look at your life in chapters and try to be very successful on all chapters, I think then you're probably, you know, the top 5% in everything that you do, routine, or looking at your life in chapters. I think this is pretty good advice for all of us. But I do think it's bad if you're trying to coach your own kid to say, you're not like me, you're broken. Why can't you say, well, just look at like, you know, Thomas Gilman. He's more of a ferocious competitor. The Brands brothers. And look at Cael Sanderson, super nice guy. Look at their coaching styles. Look at Cael Sanderson. He's kind of laid back. He doesn't even get out of his chair during a dual meet a lot of the times. Look at John Wooden, considered the greatest coach ever. He sat in a chair and didn't even talk. We would throw a fit if our youth or high school coach sat in a chair like Cael Sanderson. But now we applaud Cael Sanderson because they have won everything. It's 2018 now, so they've won everything for years, right? 7 titles in a row, or almost 7 in a row, 6 in a row, I don't know. So is he intense and ferocious like some of you watching this, or like my wrestling dad who was asking me some questions and frustrated that his kid was too much like his mom? Well, I don't know. But I think what I did with my son was I was like, he's a different athlete than me. I was skinny and very quick. He was slow and methodical, very strong. So I hired him as strength coach, and he became one of the strongest high school kids pound for pound at his weight in America. I have no doubt about it, right? So we just tried to build his strengths. He wasn't super intense before his matches. He liked to be calm. He told me, because I just need to be kind of collect my thoughts, right? I hired him a sports psychologist coach, a performance coach, because I just pretty much believe in hiring the best. I mean, it's expensive, yeah, but going to a so-called national tournament and spending $700 so that your kid can wrestle, 11 minutes, that's expensive. Spending $900 a year for a sports psychologist, right? Or even a couple thousand a year. Skip a couple of those stupid tournaments you're wasting your time on and take that money and hire a strength coach, right? Get a home wrestling mat, So yeah, I did hire some experts to help my son, but I was pretty much his coach. And I'm giving you the same advice that I took, and he became a very good wrestler and had some Division I wrestling opportunities, and decided not to wrestle in college, which is fine. Tom Brands, the Iowa coach, he's an Olympic champ. His son isn't acting. He didn't want to wrestle. Fine. Tom Brands doesn't care. I didn't care. So all of our kids are going to have their own pathway. Leave them alone, right? But the number one complaint I get from coaches who were experienced anyway, wrestlers who are now trying to coach their own kid, if there is angst between you and your son or daughter, it's probably coming down to the fact that they are completely different than you and you're frustrated. And my advice is don't be. Cael Sanderson has a different personality than John Smith, Kendall Cross, Tom Brands, Brandon Slay, right? Kenny Monday, Kevin Jackson. There's 6 or 7 Olympic champs. Jake Varner, Kyle Schneider. They all have different wrestling styles, different types of athleticism. Jake Varner didn't wrestle like Jordan Burroughs, but he's an Olympic champion. He wrestled slow and heavy-footed. Jordan Burroughs does not. They're both Olympic champs. I'm sure that all 7 or 8 or 10 Olympic champs I named have different personalities too. So take your kids' athletic strengths and weaknesses, develop a game plan moving forward. Because if you look, Jordan Burroughs does not wrestle over-under. He doesn't wrestle out of an overhook or an underhook. There's some Russians that wrestle out of overhooks, and a lot of them that wrestle out of an underhook. They're all Olympic champions. Jordan Burroughs, if he wrestled in an underhook, that would probably be stupid. Why would he want to tie up himself and take away his speed and athleticism? But also a lot of your style of wrestling comes down to your personality. So, don't expect your athlete to have the same personality as you, and instead put on your coaching hat and say, how can I help my son or daughter who is excited about wrestling, but since they wrestle and act and behave differently than me, how can I help them to have 10 times the success that I had? Now you're on the right track. So there's my advice. Good luck. You can check us out if you were interested at perlerwrestling.com. If not, that's great too. We wish you luck, and please share and subscribe and check out our other videos. There's a lot of content here. It's just a great way for me to be able to help share some advice, and it doesn't cost anybody a dime. It's kind of fun to do. Good luck.